The square was crowded. The sound of voices filled the air, rising higher and higher, like a storm about to break. Men, women, even children stood with cold eyes, waiting for the punishment to begin. Their faces showed no pity. Their hearts carried no mercy. In the center of the square, under the harsh sun, a young alien girl was dragged forward by guards. Her clothes were torn, her body weak, but her spirit was not yet broken. Her silver eyes looked around, searching for kindness, searching for one person, just one, who would help her. But no hand reached out. No voice spoke for her. The guards pushed her to the ground. The crowd roared in anger. "Traitor! Betrayer! Enemy!" they shouted. She winced, but she did not answer them. Her lips stayed closed. Only her heavy breathing and trembling hands showed her fear. The oldest guard raised his voice. "This one has betrayed her own kind. She will pay for her crime. She will suffer until death takes her." The people cheered. Then the stones began to fly. The first stone hit her shoulder. She cried out, her voice sharp and painful. More stones came, one after another, striking her arms, her legs, her back. She tried to cover her head, but the guards held her down. The crowd wanted pain. The crowd wanted blood. Her body shook. Her breath came fast, but she did not beg. She did not scream for mercy. Her eyes, though wet with tears, still burned with hidden fire. From the edge of the crowd, a man stood watching. A human. His clothes were simple, his face shadowed by a hood. He had seen punishments before, but this one felt different. Something about the girl's eyes, something about her silence, struck deep inside him. The punishment went on, stone after stone. Blood ran down her arms. Her strength grew weaker. Finally, when the guards grew tired, they pushed her against a tall stone wall. Heavy chains wrapped around her. Wrists and ankles, iron bit into her skin. She was locked in place, unable to move. The chief guard shouted again, "She will stay here. No food, no water. She will starve. Her body will rot and no one will help her. Let this be a lesson." The crowd cheered once more. Then, slowly, one by one, they began to leave. Their anger had been satisfied. Their hearts were empty. No one cared about her fate. The square grew quiet. The dust settled. Only the girl remained, hanging in chains, her head bowed, her body broken. But not everyone had left. From the shadows, the human man stayed. He felt his heart beating faster. He had seen her pain, seen her blood, and yet he also saw something the others did not. He saw her strength. He saw her eyes glowing faintly, as if holding back a secret. Why was she punished? What had she done? Why did her own people turn against her? He wanted to walk away like everyone else. He wanted to stay safe, but his feet did not move. His eyes did not turn away. Night came. The torches burned low. The girl hung in silence, breathing slowly, her body close to collapse. The man stepped closer, careful not to make a sound. He looked at her face. Even in the dim light, he could see the marks of pain, the lines of suffering. Yet there was something more, something unbroken inside her. He pulled a small piece of bread from his pocket. His hand shook as he looked around, making sure no guard was near. Then he placed the bread on the ground near her chained feet. Her head lifted slowly. Her silver eyes met his. For the first time, someone had not turned away. For the first time, someone had shown her kindness. The human whispered softly, his voice barely heard, "Eat. Stay alive." Her lips parted, as if she wanted to speak, but no words came. Only her eyes spoke, full of shock, full of questions. Why was he helping her? Who was he? The man stepped on. D back quickly, afraid of being seen. His heart pounded in his chest. He should have left. He should not have helped. If anyone discovered this, he would be punished too, maybe even chained beside her, but he could not forget her eyes. The night passed slowly. The girl's breathing grew weaker, but the small piece of bread gave her strength to survive a little longer. The human man stayed hidden, watching from the shadows. He did not know why he was doing this. He only knew he could not let her die, not like this. Far above, the stars shone cold and bright. The wind carried whispers through the empty square. The girl was chained, broken, and abandoned, but she was not alone anymore. And deep inside her, a secret waited, a secret that could change everything. The human did not yet know it, but his choice to help her was only the beginning. The city square was silent now. The angry crowd had gone back to their homes. The torches still burned along the walls, but their flames were weak, swaying in the night wind. The alien girl hung from the chains, her head low, her breath shallow. The marks of stones covered her body, bruises, cuts, and dried blood. Every breath sounded heavy, like it could be her last. But from the shadows, the human man stayed. His hood covered his face, his heart beating fast. He should have left, like everyone else. He should have walked away, but his feet would not move. Something inside him refused. His mind spoke with fear. If anyone sees me here, I will be punished. If they know I helped her, I will face the same chains. This is madness. Yet another voice whispered in his chest. You saw her eyes. You saw her strength. She is not what they say. If you walk away, she will die, and you will never forgive yourself. He stepped closer again. The chains rattled softly when the girl moved. Her silver eyes opened, faint but still alive. She looked at him, not with anger, not with hatred, with something else, something he could not name. He crouched near her, whispering, Eat the bread, please. You need strength. Her lips moved slowly. The words came weak, broken. Why? Help me? The man froze. He had no answer ready. Why was he helping her? Why risk his life for someone he did not know? He only knew that when the crowd threw stones, he had felt shame burning inside his heart. Everyone had joined in the cruelty, but he could not. Finally, he whispered, because no one else would. The girl's eyes studied him in silence. Then, with trembling hands, she reached for the bread on the ground. She ate slowly, each bite painful but giving her new breath. When she finished, her head rested back against the wall. Thank you, she whispered. Her voice was thin, but her words carried weight. The man pulled his hood tighter. His name was Kale, though no one in the city cared to know him. He was just another worker, just another face. Invisible, safe. Until now. He looked around again, afraid of the guards, but the square was empty. Only he and the chained girl remained. Kyle asked softly, Why did they do this to you? Her eyes closed for a moment as if remembering pain sharper than the stones. Then she opened them again. They fear me, she said. They fear what I carry inside, so they called me a traitor. They chose to break me. Kyle frowned. Fear twisted inside him. What do you carry inside? The girl smiled faintly, a broken smile. The truth. Kale's heart tightened. The truth? What did she mean? But before he could ask more, her head dropped again. She had no strength left for words. Kale stayed until the first hint of dawn touched the sky. His mind battled itself. Leave her. Save yourself. Forget you ever saw her. But his feet stayed where they were. As the sun rose, the city began to wake. Kale had no choice but to leave before someone saw him. He stepped back into the shadows. His last sight of the girl burned into his mind. A broken figure in chains, yet white. The eyes that still glowed like hidden fire. All that day, Kale could not work. His hands trembled, his thoughts lost. He saw her face in every shadow, her whisper echoing in his ears. They fear me. I carry the truth. That night, against all reason, he returned. The square was empty again, but the girl was still there, weaker than before. Her lips were dry, her eyes dim. Kale's chest ached when he looked at her. He had brought water this time. He poured it carefully into a small wooden cup and held it near her lips. She drank slowly, each drop giving her life again. When she finished, she looked at him with eyes brighter than the night before. You are not like them, she whispered. Kale swallowed hard. And you are not what they say. For a long moment, they only looked at each other. The silence was heavy, but it was not empty. It was full of questions, of fear, of something neither of them could explain. Finally, Kale said, If they see me here, they will kill me. Why am I doing this? The girl's lips curved just slightly into the faintest smile. Because you know I am not your enemy. Her words struck deep. He did not know why, but he believed her. As the night stretched on, Kyle sat hidden, guarding her from the shadows. He could not fight the whole city, but he could do this one thing, keep her alive for one more night. But inside, he felt it growing, the weight of his choice. He had stepped onto a path that could not be undone, a path that tied his fate to hers. The third night came, and Kale returned again. He had told himself he would not, that he could not risk it, but his heart betrayed him. His steps carried him back to the square as if pulled by invisible chains. The girl was still there, chained to the wall. Her body looked weaker, her skin pale, her breath soft like a whisper. Yet her eyes still glowed faintly in the dark, like silver fire refusing to die. Kale approached quietly. He carried more food, more water. She took it slowly, each bite and sip restoring a piece of her strength. When she finished, her eyes lifted to his, and for the first time she spoke with more than just broken whispers. You are not afraid of me, she said. Kale shook his head, though his heart pounded. I should be. Everyone else is. Why? She asked. Her voice was soft, but her words carried weight. Why should they fear me? Kael frowned. They called you a traitor. They said you betrayed your people. Is it true? The girl's eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in pain. I did not betray them. I tried to protect them, but they could not accept the truth. Kael leaned closer. What truth? She looked away, her chains clinking softly against the stone. For a long time she stayed silent. Then finally she whispered, My name is Saris, and I know what is coming. Kael felt a chill move through him. What do you mean? Saris's silver eyes locked onto his. Something dark is approaching, not just for my people, not just for yours, for everyone. They think I am the enemy because I warned them. They think I bring danger when I only tried to stop it. Kael's throat felt dry. What danger? Saris lowered her voice, almost too soft to hear. Creatures not from this world. They are coming, and they will not stop. They will consume everything. I saw them. I felt them. That is why they chained me. They did not want to believe. They wanted silence. Kael stepped back, his mind racing. Her words felt impossible, yet the way she spoke carried no lie. He remembered the fire in her eyes, the strength even when beaten. Could it be true? Could she have seen something no one else had? He whispered, If that's true, why tell me? Saris's gaze softened. Because you listened. Because when everyone else turned away, you did not. And because I cannot fight what is coming alone. Kael's chest tightened. He was just a simple man. He was no soldier, no leader. How could she expect him to stand against creatures from another world? Yet at the same time, a strange weight pressed on him. Perhaps fate had chosen him by mistake, or perhaps not. Before Kael could speak again, a faint sound echoed from the shadows, a stone shifting, a breath too loud. Kael froze. His eyes darted to the edge of the square. Someone was there, watching. He pulled his hood lower and stepped back. His heart raced. If anyone had seen him feeding Saris, he was finished. He looked at her quickly, whispering, Stay silent. Don't say a word. Her eyes followed his every move, calm but sharp, as if she already knew what waited in the dark. Kael turned away, melting into the shadows, leaving her chained once more. He walked fast, his hands shaking. His mind screamed at him, You are being watched. They will know. They will come for you. That night, Kael could not sleep. The words of Saris echoed inside him. They are coming. They will consume everything. And also, I cannot fight them alone. The next evening, Kael returned again, though fear burned in his chest. He looked carefully around the square before stepping closer. It was empty, or so it seemed. Saris lifted her head weakly. You came back. Kael nodded, kneeling near her. Someone was watching last night. I know, she said calmly. They will not stay silent for long. Kael's jaw tightened. Why are you so calm? Her lips curved faintly. Because I have seen worse than chains, worse than stones. If they come for me again, I will endure. But you, her eyes studied him carefully, you still have a choice. You can walk away. Kael felt heat in his chest. Walk away? He had thought of it many times. He had told himself it was safer, smarter, but every time, his feet brought him back here. I can't, he whispered. Not now. For the first time, Saris's faint smile was real. Not broken, not bitter, real. Then you are already part of the truth. The night grew darker. The wind grew colder. Kael sat in silence, his heart heavy with the weight of his choice. The night was thick with silence. The city slept under the cold stars, unaware that something dark had already crossed its walls. Kael had returned once more, unable to fight the pull that drew him back to the chained girl. Saris's eyes followed him as he slipped through the shadows. He brought water, bread, and a thin cloak to warm her against the night wind. You risk too much, Saris whispered as he placed the cloak around her shoulders. Kael gave a half smile. Maybe I do, but if you're right about what's coming, then none of us are safe. Saris's lips parted, as if to answer, but her words were cut short. A low sound rumbled through the air, like the growl of a beast too large to be seen. The chains on the wall rattled as if shaken by the ground itself. Kael froze. His eyes darted to the edge of the square. The sound came again, deeper, closer. It wasn't human. It wasn't natural. Saris's silver eyes sharpened, a sudden fire burning in them. They're here. Kael's chest tightened. Who? Her voice was cold. The ones I warned them about. A shriek split the night. Not the cry of a bird or beast, but something alien, sharp and broken, as if metal itself screamed. Kale stumbled back, his blood running cold. From the shadows of the city gate, a figure emerged. At first it looked like a man. Then the torchlight revealed its skin, black, slick, shifting like liquid shadow. Its eyes glowed with pale green light. Its hands ended in claws too long for flesh. Behind it, more shapes crawled out of the dark. Their movements were twisted, unnatural. Some ran along the walls like spiders. Others dragged themselves across the ground with too many limbs. Kale's heart hammered in his chest. The city had no warning. No guards were ready. The people were asleep, blind to the nightmare breaking into their homes. The first creature leapt into the square. Its claws scraped the stone. As it let out another screech, Saris's chains rattled as she pulled against them. Her eyes burned with fury. "Kale," she shouted, "break the chains, now!" Kale's mind spun. The guards had warned. If he freed her, he would be punished like a traitor. But in that moment, he saw the creatures moving closer, faster. He saw Saris's eyes burning brighter than the torches. He knew the choice. There was no time left. He grabbed a loose stone from the ground and smashed it against the chain lock. Once, twice, sparks flew. The creature drew closer, its claws reaching out. Saris shouted again, her voice fierce, "Kyle, hurry!" With a final strike, the lock cracked. The chain fell loose. Saris tore her arm free, her strength surprising even in her weakened state. With another pull, the chains on her ankles broke against the wall. She was free. The creature lunged at them. Kale stumbled back, but Saris stepped forward. Her silver eyes blazed with a light so bright it cut through the night. She raised her hand, and a shock of energy burst outward. The creature screamed, its body twisting as light tore through it. Then with a shudder, it collapsed into ash. Kale stared, breathless. What are you?" Saris turned to him, her chest rising and falling. Her voice was calm but heavy. "I am what they feared, but I am also what can save them." Before Kale could answer, more creatures poured into the square. The air filled with their shrieks, their claws scraping stone, their glowing eyes fixed on flesh. Saris stepped in front of Kale. "Stay behind me." She lifted her hands and light flared again. Not fire, not lightning, but something strange, something alive. Energy flowed from her body in waves, striking the creatures as they charged. Some fell, burned to nothing. Others leapt back, hissing in rage. But there were too many. Kale grabbed a broken piece of wood, holding it like a weapon. He knew it was useless, but fear and instinct kept him from standing still. One of the creatures lunged at him, and Kale swung. The wood snung. Apt, but the blow slowed the beast long enough for Saris's light to blast it apart. She looked at him briefly, her eyes sharp. "You fight, even when you cannot win." Kale gritted his teeth. "And you protect, even when they chained you." The square became a battlefield. Light and shadow clashed, screams echoed, and the walls shook with the force of the attack. For every creature Saris struck down, two more appeared. At last, a horn sounded in the distance. Guards rushed into the square, weapons raised. But when they saw Saris standing free, light blazing from her hands, their faces twisted with fear. "She's loose," one shouted. "The traitor is free." "No," Kale shouted back, his voice breaking. "She's saving you. Look around." But the guards saw only what they feared. To them, Saris was as dangerous as the creatures she fought. Saris's power dimmed for a moment, her body swaying with exhaustion. Kale caught her before she fell. The guards moved closer, blades raised. The creatures shrieked louder, surrounding the square. The humans screamed in terror. The square was fire and shadow. Screams tore through the night as creatures leapt from the walls, their claws slashing, their eyes glowing green. Guards fought, their swords clashing against beasts that refused to die. And in the middle of it all stood Saris, silver light pouring from her hands, tearing through the darkness. She burned the monsters into ash, one after another, her face set in fierce determination. But even as she saved them, the guards turned their weapons toward her. "There, the traitor is free," one shouted. "She brought this on us." Kale stood in front of her, his arms spread wide. "No, can't you see? She's saving you. Without her, you're already dead." But fear was stronger than reason. The guards saw only a girl they had chained, a girl they had been told to hate. Their eyes were blind to the truth. Saris glanced at Kale, her breath heavy, sweat shining on her face. "We cannot stay here. If they kill me, no one will stop what's coming." Kale nodded. His chest pounded as he looked around. More creatures crawled from the gates while guards raised their blades against Saris. They were trapped between enemies on both sides. Saris whispered, "Hold tight." Before Kale could ask what she meant, she raised her hands. A burst of light exploded outward, blinding the guards and monsters alike. Kale stumbled, his eyes burning, his ears ringing. When his sight cleared, Saris had grabbed his arm and pulled him into the shadows of a side street. They ran. The city was chaos. People screamed in their homes as creatures tore through doors and windows. Fire spread from the torches knocked aside in the battle. The air was thick with smoke and fear. Kael's legs ached, but Saris never slowed. Even weakened, her grip was strong, her eyes sharp as she led him through the maze of narrow streets. Behind them, shouts echoed. "There, stop them! The traitor is loose!" And above the shouts, the screeches of the creatures grew louder. The hunt had begun. Kael gasped for breath. "They think you caused this. They'll never believe you." Saris's voice was calm, but heavy with pain. "I know. They would rather blame me than face the truth. That is why I needed you." Kael stumbled, but kept running. "Me? I'm no soldier. I'm nothing." She glanced at him, her silver eyes glowing faintly even in the smoke. "You are the one who chose to see me. That makes you everything." Her words struck deeper than he expected. Even as fear clawed at him, he tightened his grip, refusing to let go. They turned a corner and froze. A pack of creatures blocked the path, their claws scraping stone, their green eyes burning in the dark. Saris stepped forward, light building in her hands. Kael grabbed her wrist. "No, you'll burn yourself out. We need another way." But there was no other way. The creatures hissed and crawled closer, their bodies twisting on Nachu. Rally, hungry for flesh. Saris closed her eyes, her breath steadying. Then she whispered, "Trust me." Her body glowed brighter, brighter, until the light was almost blinding. She spread her arms, and a wave of energy burst outward, slamming into the creatures. They shrieked, their bodies tearing apart into black dust. The light faded, and Saris collapsed to her knees, weak and trembling. Kael dropped beside her, catching her before she fell. "Saris," he whispered harshly, "you can't keep doing this. You'll kill yourself." Her lips curved faintly, almost a smile. "Better me than all of you." Kael shook his head, his throat tight. He pulled her up, her weight heavy on his shoulder. "No, we're getting out of here, both of us." They moved again, slower now, slipping through alleys as the city crumbled around them. Smoke stung Kael's eyes. The distant shouts of guards grew closer. The creatures were everywhere, spreading like a living plague. Finally, they reached the outer wall. The great gate was broken, smashed open by claws and force too strong for human defense. Beyond it lay the dark fields, the forest, and freedom. But the way was not empty. Guards stood at the gate, blades drawn, blocking the path. "There," one shouted. "The traitor! Do not let her escape!" Kael's stomach dropped. They were cornered again. The guards advanced, their eyes full of fear and hatred. Behind them, the monsters shrieked, climbing over the wall. Both sides were closing in. Kael held Saris tighter. He had no weapon, no power, no plan, but he knew one thing. He would not let her fall again. Saris's voice was faint but firm. "If we stay, we die. If we go forward, maybe we live. The choice is yours, Kael." His heart pounded. The guards were close enough now that he could see their faces, twisted with anger. The monsters behind them were even closer, their claws scraping against stone. Kael took a deep breath, his eyes hardening. "Then we go forward." He pulled Saris with him, running straight toward the guards. They shouted, raising their blades, ready to strike. But at the last moment, Saris lifted her head. Her silver eyes blazed once more, and a wall of light erupted, forcing the guards to stumble back. Kael pushed through the gap, dragging her into the open fields. The night air hit them like a storm, cold and sharp. Behind them, the city burned. Screams echoed, shadows moved across the walls. Kael looked back only once, his chest tight. The city he had known all his life was falling, and to them, he was no longer one of them. He was a traitor too. Saris leaned against him, her breath weak but steady. "We are not safe yet," she whispered. "The real fight has only begun." The forest swallowed them whole. The burning city faded behind, its screams now only echoes in the distance. The trees rose tall and dark, their branches weaving a ceiling that hid the stars. The night air was damp, heavy with the smell of earth and leaves. Kael's legs ached as he carried Saris deeper into the woods. She leaned against him, her weight heavy, her strength nearly gone. Her silver eyes were dim now, glowing faintly like embers that refused to die. Finally, Kael found a hollow beneath the roots of an ancient tree. He set Saris down gently, his chest rising and falling with exhaustion. His body hurt, but his mind burned with sharper pain, fear, confusion, and questions too large to hold. Saris closed her eyes, her breath shallow. For a long time, Kale only sat there, listening to the forest, afraid of every sound. The rustle of leaves felt like claws. The hoot of an owl felt like a warning. He kept his broken piece of wood close, though he knew it would do little against the creatures. When at last Ceres spoke, her voice was weak but steady. "You should leave me." Kyle turned sharply. "What?" "You saved me already," she whispered. "You owe me nothing more. If you stay, they will hunt you. Your life will end because of—" Kale shook his head, anger flashing in his eyes. "And if I leave, your life ends here. You think I can walk away now? After everything?" Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "You are stubborn. Or maybe just foolish," Kale muttered, though his heart knew the truth. Silence stretched between them, broken only by the sounds of the forest. Then Kale leaned closer. "Tell me, all of it. What are these creatures? Why do they come?" Ceres opened her eyes. They glowed brighter now, silver cutting through the dark. "They are not from this world. They move from place to place, world to world, consuming everything in their path. They are hunger without end." Kale's stomach tightened. "And you saw them before?" She nodded slowly. "I felt them long before they reached us. My people did not believe. They feared my vision, my warning. To them, I was a danger, a reminder of something they did not want to face. So they chained me, silenced me, and called me a traitor." Kale clenched his fists. The memory of the crowd, the stones, the chains, all burned sharper now. And the humans, they were the same. Blind, afraid. They'd rather kill you than listen. Ceres studied him quietly. "But not you." Kyle looked away, his jaw tight. "I don't know why. Maybe I'm the fool, like I said. Or maybe I just couldn't watch them destroy someone who never begged, never broke." Her eyes softened, a warmth cutting through the cold night. "Then you are stronger than you think." Kyle gave a bitter laugh. "Stronger? I have nothing. No weapon, no power, no plan. Only fear." Ceres reached out, her hand trembling, and touched his arm. "And still you stayed. That is what makes you different." The touch was light, but Kyle felt its weight deep in his chest. For a moment, the fear eased. They sat in silence again, the forest wrapping them in its dark arms. Kyle leaned against the roots, his eyes heavy with exhaustion. Yet he did not sleep. He kept watch, listening to every sound, guarding her as she drifted into fragile rest. When dawn touched the forest, Ceres stirred. Her strength had returned, though only a little. She sat up, her silver eyes catching the pale light of morning. Kale offered her the last of the bread. She accepted it, eating slowly, carefully. When she finished, she looked at him with quiet resolve. "We cannot stay here," she said. "The creatures will not stop. And now, your people will hunt us too." Kale rubbed his face with tired hands. "So where do we go?" Ceres's gaze turned east, where the sun broke through the trees. "There are places hidden, old and forgotten. Places even the hunters cannot reach. If we can make it there, I can recover my strength. Then, maybe I can fight them." Kale exhaled, his heart heavy. The path ahead was dark, uncertain. But he knew one thing for certain. He could not abandon her now. He stood, offering his hand. "Then we go together." Ceres looked at his hand, then at him. Slowly she took it. Her fingers were cold, but her grip was firm. For a moment, neither spoke. They only stood there, bound not by chains, but by choice. And in that fragile moment, something unspoken passed between them. A bond born from fear, pain, and survival. A bond that neither the humans nor the creatures could break. But far away, in the ruins of the burning city, others were already moving. The guards who had seen Kale free Ceres now carried his name on their tongues. The hunters were preparing, and the creatures, endless in number, were spreading. The bond between Kale and Ceres was real, but it would soon be tested in fire and blood. The forest stretched endless before them, a sea of shadows and whispering leaves. For days, Kale and Ceres moved through it, always careful, always listening. The nights were filled with distant shrieks. The days brought silence too heavy to trust. Kyle grew leaner, his face tired, but his resolve stronger. Ceres's stir. Angth returned slowly, her silver eyes brighter each day. Yet her power remained unsteady, like a flame flickering in the wind. On the fifth night, they reached a ridge that looked down over a valley. At the far end stood the ruins of an ancient stone temple, broken pillars rising like teeth from the earth. Ceres stopped, her breath catching. "This is the place," she whispered. Kyle frowned. "What's here?" "An old shield," she said. A remnant of those who fought the darkness long before us. If I reach it, I can restore my strength. Then I can fight them. Kael nodded, but unease gnawed at him. The valley was too quiet, too still. His instincts screamed of danger. As they descended, the ground shook. A shriek tore through the night, louder than before. From the trees, shadows poured forth. Dozens of the creatures crawled, their green eyes glowing, their claws scraping stone. Kael pulled Saris behind a broken wall, his chest pounding. Too many, he muttered. Saris's eyes burned. We cannot run, not anymore. If they destroy this place, there is no hope. Kael swallowed hard. He knew she was right. The ruins were their only chance, but facing the swarm felt like standing before death itself. The creatures circled, their bodies twisting unnaturally, their shrieks echoing. Then from the opposite side of the valley, torches appeared. Kael's heart sank. Humans. A band of guards marched into the ruins, weapons raised, faces hard with hate. Their leader shouted, "There they are! The traitor and the man who freed her! Kill them both!" Kael's stomach twisted. They'll never stop, will they? Saris shook her head. No, not until the truth is forced into their eyes. Kael gripped the broken spear he had found among the ruins. His hands shook, but his voice was steady. Then we fight. Together. Saris looked at him, her eyes softening for a moment. You could still run. He shook his head. Not without you. Never without you. A strange light touched her face then. Not her power, but something gentler, something human. She nodded once, then turned to the enemy. The first creature leapt, claws slashing. Kael swung the spear, knocking it aside. Saris raised her hands, silver light bursting forth, burning 3 more into ash. The guards charged at the same time. Swords clashed against stone as they fought their way through the ruins. But instead of joining against the monsters, they turned their blades towards Saris. She is the cause, their leader shouted. Strike her down! Kael roared, rage flooding his veins. He met the first guard head-on, his spear snapping against the man's shield. He grabbed a stone from the ground and slammed it into the guard's face, dropping him. Open your eyes, Kael shouted. She's the only reason you're still alive. But no one listened. The ruins became chaos. Light clashed with shadow. Steel clashed with claw. Kael fought with every breath, every drop of strength, protecting Saris's back as she unleashed her power. Still, the swarm grew. For every creature she destroyed, more crawled from the dark. For every guard that fell, 2 more pressed forward. At last, Saris stumbled, her body shaking. Kael caught her, his arms wrapping around her trembling frame. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever, but her voice was faint. I cannot hold much longer. Kael gritted his teeth. Then we make our stand here. If we die fighting. Her lips curved into a faint smile, spoken like one of us. She placed her hand on his chest, light spreading from her touch. Strength surged through Kael's body, his pain fading, his vision sharpening. For the first time, he felt her power flow into him. Together, they rose. Kael charged into the swarm, his movements faster, stronger. His broken spear pierced through a creature's chest, light burning through it as if guided by her will. Saris stood tall, her arms raised high. The ruins glowed with silver fire as she drew power from the ancient stones. Light poured from her body, brighter than the sun. The guards faltered, fear flashing across their faces. The creatures shrieked louder, circling tighter. The valley shook. The temple stones trembled. Kael shouted over the chaos, his voice raw. Saris, what are you doing? Her eyes locked onto his, fierce and unyielding. The only thing left. If I cannot make them believe with words, then I will make them believe with power. The light grew blinding. The ruins cracked as the ground split beneath their feet. Guards screamed. Creatures wailed. Kael shielded his eyes, his heart pounding. Saris, you'll burn yourself alive. But her voice rang clear, strong, unbroken. Better to burn than to bow. The light exploded, and then, silence. When the dust cleared, Kael was on his knees, the ruins shattered around him. The creatures were gone, burned to ash. The guards lay scattered, weapons broken, fear carved into their faces. But Saris, she stood at the heart of the ruins, her body glowing faintly, her silver eyes dim but steady. She had given almost everything, yet still she lived. Kael stumbled toward her, his chest tight with relief and dread. Saris. She looked at him, her voice soft, almost a whisper. This is only the beginning. What comes next will be worse. Behind them, on the horizon, the sky burned red. A storm of shadows was rising, larger than anything they had yet faced.